Hope you're having a good day. It's Key here once again. I'm back with another video today, this time covering Samurai. I will go over the abilities and their explanations and what they do, how they interact with each other, as well as I will be attaching a frontline gameplay after my explanation for you guys to see. I hope you guys find this guide useful and you can learn something from it. So without further ado, let's get into Key's Guide to Samurai and Final Fantasy XIV PvP patch 7.2. Hope you're having a great day today. Today I am going to be bringing you another ability guide for Final Fantasy XIV PvP. This time we are covering Samurai. Samurai is one of the 6 melee jobs in Final Fantasy, and this job brings a lot of unique buttons to the kit in PvP and can make for some very high skilled gameplay once you master this class. So without further ado, let's get into all the abilities on Samurai. So starting with my one button here, I have Kasha combo. This combo is your basic combo. It's 3 buttons, and they all do the same damage. They all do 6,000. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And then it resets and just goes over and over again like any regular combo does. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of skipping around on my bar here, because it's going to make more sense when I skip around. So I'm going to actually skip all the way to the end of my regular abilities on ability 6. This is called Hisatsu Soten. I'm sorry if I butcher any of these pronunciations, but they are Japanese pronunciations, so I may struggle a little bit, but I'll do my best. But anyway, so Soten is a dash with a range of 20 ohms. And every time you dash, you get a buff on your bar called Kaiten. And when you have this buff, your basic abilities turn into AoE abilities. So they hit a lot bigger of an area. This applies on all 3 hits of your basic combo. They all turn into AoEs that all hit for 8,000 damage. The ability in the front, so Kasha turns into Yukikaze, and Yukikaze is a bind. The other 2 are just damage. So it's very important that you use this button as an AoE every time you have it, so you can get that bind off onto players, because if they do not have a way to escape you, it can make for an easy lockdown and an easy kill for you and your team. So dash, get the Kaiten buff, press basic combo, there's your bind, here's a regular AoE, and here's the other one. The last AoE used to have a heal on it, but with the 7.1 changes, they removed the heal from that button, and so now they are both just basic AoE damage. So this is how you access your bind. You dash, and it turns into a Yukikaze on your bar. And it's a pretty decent bind and can make for some really big setup. Alright, so let's move on to the next button. So the next button is Ogi Namakiri. This button is your hardest hitting single target damage in your kit. If you only hit 1 target with it, you do 12,000 damage. It turns into Kashi Namakiri afterwards, so it's another hit for 12,000 damage right after. This one is instant cast. You probably noticed on the first one that it has a cast bar to it. This can be annoying at times, but if you get the cast off, you won't have to worry about dealing with another cast bar after. It's an instant cast. When you hit multiple enemies with this ability, your damage goes down just a little bit. However, if you look at my name up here in the top left corner, you will notice that I get a shield when I hit multiple targets. So these 2 striking dummies both just took 8,000 damage instead of 12,000. But I got a 9,000 shield from hitting 2 enemies at least. It also has the same effect on the instant cast hit. So you can actually stack them like so. And so now you have an 18,000 shield if you're cleaving into several enemies, which can be useful and can keep you alive in unexpected situations. So if you're running into a group, try to aim to hit multiple people so you can spread your damage out and you can get that shield. Alright, moving on to ability number 3. This is called Meikyo Shisui. Again, sorry for the pronunciation, but I call it Meikyo. This button has a couple of things. It gives you access to Tendo Setsugeka, which is another cast bar that does 10,000 damage, and then it gives you Tendo Keishi Setsugeka, that is an instant cast button that is also 10,000 damage. This is a very important button on Samurai's bar for one main reason, and it's not just for the damage. Your first 3 seconds after you click this button, you get a buff on your bar that gives you a free purify for 3 seconds. So it's just like you hitting your purify button on your hotbar. So basically, Samurai has 2 purifies. This is actually why, me personally, I have this button on 3 and my purify on control 3, because they both do the same thing at the start, right? So if I were to get stunned right as I press this button, the stun wouldn't affect me. I would be able to keep moving. So if you time the usage of this ability right, you can be even harder to lock down and kill. So keep that in mind. You have 10 seconds to get your cast bar off. So what you can do is you can pop this to avoid a stun or a bind or whatever. Then you can use Ogi Namakiri to get some damage out, and then you can start casting this before your Setsugeka ready buff runs out, and you can get full damage as well as avoiding any crowd control. So keep that in the back of your mind, that this is a free purify. Alright, moving on to ability 4. This is a very unique button. This is called Hisatsu Shiten. Everyone just calls it Shiten. And it is a defensive buff for Samurai. You reduce damage taken by 25%, which is pretty big. And every time somebody hits you, they take 4,000 damage for touching your Shiten. So if you are against, let's say, a ninja who wants to hit you with their multi-hit abilities, every single one of their hits is 4,000 damage reflected back at them if you have this on. Now, when a enemy hits you, when you have this buff on, they get a debuff called Kazushi, and Kazushi is this little purple icon with like a red person on it, and if they have that icon on them, it increases their damage taken by 20%. So if you can time this right, you can make your other big damage buttons do even more damage and make your targets easier to kill. Also, as you noticed, when I pressed my Shiten, I got access to another ability again. This one is called Zanshin. Zanshin is a 6,000 cone AoE, looks like this, and it heals for 100% of the damage that you do. So if someone's in guard, you're not going to get very much healing, but if you cleave multiple people who are not in guard or don't have damage reduction themselves, this is actually a humongous heal. I like to use it as a weave to get extra damage out because I'm greedy, but in situations like running into an entire team in frontline, you can actually take a lot of damage, get a good Zanshin off, and go back to full health while you're running away. Alright, so Shiten is a busy button. The Kazushi effect that you get from it also applies to the LB, which I'll talk about in just a minute, but I have one more ability to do. The last regular ability is very simple. It's called Mini Uchi is how I'm gonna say it. It doesn't do very much damage. It only does 2,000, but it gives a debuff to an enemy when you hit them called Dabana that increases their damage taken by 10%, and it also stuns them for 2 seconds. So if you want to have a self-damage increase but you don't have your Shiten up, you can stun them, and then you can use your big damage abilities, and notice how this does 13,200 now instead of 12,000 because it goes up by 10%. Also, a very important interaction is that the damage increase debuff you get from Shiten can be extended up to 6 seconds long if you stun them after they hit you. So that's also a very good way to ensure that you get an LB off onto a key target, because you can stun them, and instead of the debuff lasting 4 seconds, it resets and it goes up to 6 instead. Alright, so that is the regular abilities for Samurai. Again, I apologize for the pronunciations. They're a little hard for me, but I gave it my best shot, and that's all I can really do. Now let's talk about the LB. Regular PvP players in Frontline who are just there to do their roulette for the day absolutely cannot stand Samurai. And the reason is because of their LB. And if they would do a little bit of reading, they would know how to counter it. So not only am I going to tell you what this button does, I'm also going to tell you how to counter it. So this ability is called Zantetsuken. I know that's how you pronounce that one. There's a lot of people who call it Zanny for short because it's easier to say. This LB button takes 2 minutes to charge, and it has a pretty small radius to it, so you can cleave multiple people, but it can be very tricky because whoever you target is your center of attention. So basically, if you hit multiple people, they all have to be standing right next to each other for you to hit them. This button does 24,000 damage base, which is a good amount. It can be increased with your damage buffs from your mini Uchi. However, the reason this ability is so hated is because when you touch a samurai that has Shiten on them, that enemy gets Kazushi. When you use LB on someone who has that debuff on their bar, they die instantly. But there is a way to counter it. So if I use my LB on a warrior who has 66,000 health, and he has that debuff on him, I do 66,000 damage. And that damage goes on the chart on the end of match screen. So, also, it has a pretty good range. Here's what it looks like. That little circle on the ground that just appeared, that blue circle, that's the radius for it. So if anybody was standing about here, around the striking dummy, they would also get cleaved. If they had the debuff, they would also get one shot. Okay, so there's the LB. Now let me talk about how to counter your LB, or the LB, I mean, excuse me. In order to live a samurai LB, you need to do one of two things. You need to either never hit him in the first place when you see this animation right here. You don't hit the samurai for 5 seconds. You don't press any buttons. You just look at him and you wait for that buff to fall off. But if you do hit him, there is a way to live. Every class in the game, except for one, which is Bard, sorry Bard, has a way to shield themselves. If you are at full health and you have a shield on you, you live a Zantetsuken when you have that debuff on you. You live with however much shield HP you have left. So, if I got zannied by another samurai while playing samurai, and I had these two shield debuffs on, which are both 9k, I would live with 18,000 health if nobody touched me other than the samurai. Smart samurais will make sure that you don't have a shield buff on your bard before they LB you. But in the chaos of frontline, it is very hard to detect that, so most people will just use it anyway. If you can react fast enough, you will live, and you will be able to recuperate and walk away. And the samurai will be very upset that they didn't get their free kill. So, that is how you counter Zantetsuken. You must be at full HP, and you must have a shield. Well, actually, you don't have to be at full HP, but it's recommended because you're going to be very close to dead when you get hit by it. Alright, so now, with that out of the way, let's talk about role action usage on Samurai for Frontline and Robo Wing specifically. In my opinion, this class is the only class in the entire game, actually, that can get usage out of all three role actions on their PvP menu. So, melees have Bloodbath, Swift, and Smite. My personal favorite for Samurai is Swift. And the reason is, when you dash in on a target and you're hitting them with whatever abilities, you have no escape. You have to rely on your sprint button, your guard, your purify, your recoups, and that's it. You have no get in, get out dash like a Reaper does or like an Astrologian does. Once you're in, and you have to fight, and if you want to walk away, you have to do it the old-fashioned way. However, if you have Swift, you can play extremely aggressive. And when you know you need to run away, all you do is press the Swift button and run as far away as you can. However, the other two role actions do have their usage. Smite can be used when you have a team that has a lot of melees and a lot of tanks, because you can help kill secure and make sure targets die, and you can get that reset and all that extra damage off. So if you have a lot of melees on your team, I recommend you use Smite instead of Swift, because you can play even more aggressively and you can stay in and get kills because all your other allies are going to want to stay in too. You can use Bloodbath. I do think Bloodbath is the worst option, but you do have a ton of AoE. Your dashes give you AoE on your basic combo. Your Ogi Namakiri combo is also AoE, because you want to hit multiple targets in frontline for the most damage. You have Zanshin after Shiten, which is also AoE. The only AoE that you, the only ability AoE that you don't have is the two you get from Makio. So Bloodbath, you can actually heal a lot off of Bloodbath. I recommend using it if you have maybe a handful of melees. Like maybe you have, I'd say about 4, somewhere between 2 to 4, and you have to be that person in the front because you have a free purify and you have 25% damage mitigation. So if you add Bloodbath healing to that, you can be pretty hard to kill. You just have to make sure that you use your purify and your guard precisely, and avoid as much crowd control as possible, because if you get crowd controlled without purify and you have Bloodbath and not Swift, probably dead. Just keep that in mind. So that goes over role action usage for Samurai. That actually concludes my ability usage for Samurai. So I hope you guys learned something from my rambling explanation. Hopefully it makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am going to be attaching a frontline gameplay after this explanation on my video, and I hope you guys enjoy it and can learn from it. Alright, gamers. I am loading into a match of Frontline on Onsal Hakair, playing Samurai. This video and gameplay is going to be a little different. I'm going to attempt to give you guys a play-by-play and the thought process that I go through while playing in a match of Frontline as Samurai. So the first two things I do when I load into any Frontline match, it doesn't matter what class I'm playing, I glance at my team and I see what classes I have, see if I recognize any names to let me know how aggressive my team might play. And the other thing I do is I pull up my map and I leave it off to the side so I can see it at all times. Glancing here at the team, I see myself and one other person on melee. In my party specifically, I see two other samurais in Alliance B and a monk in Alliance A. We do not have a lot of tanks. So that is unfortunate for us because we're going to eat a lot of damage this game. Honestly, I'm probably going to die a few times this game, and that's okay because if my team can press buttons, then my deaths can be worthwhile. Alright, starting up here. See where we go. We only have one A rank and it is in mid. I'm gonna press my middle macro and hopefully most of my team roams mid. Get a person or two to stand on this hill on this B rank and we'll see how aggressive my team plays. Alright, I see a Dark Knight engage already on yellow. Coming for both teams. This Dark Knight is playing Disruption. I'm gonna stun him, he's gonna die. Use my Purify. Getting damage off while I have it. Okay, I'm gonna scoot back because I'm out of mana. Alright, so off the bat, I can already tell that yellow is extremely coordinated and extremely aggressive. Most of their team went on red, while they had one Dark Knight and a couple other people on my team to disrupt us. The next pull from them should be coming onto someone. Just doing poke damage here. A small engage onto red. I don't know how much damage is coming, so I'm just gonna guard. Looks like they tried another engage on red, but they failed. It's alright. Some more A rank spawn. My team is somewhat pivoting southwest. That's fine. I'm gonna stay here. See what happens. Pulled another engage on our team. Got about 4 kills. That is unlucky. A swift away just for safety because I'm completely out of mana. Alright, so I have a limit break coming up soon. One of the best things that you can do in solo queue as a samurai in Frontline is completely shut down an engage with your Zant, even if you do miss a couple of targets. I could Zant that guy, but I would like to do it in a crowd. I also just got encored. If I Zanted him, I would probably die there. I'm gonna wait. I'm going to completely wait until all my abilities are up before I dash in again, just because I have LB. Even though I think yellow is the stronger team here, I'm gonna go on red. Or I may go on the back line of yellow here, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let's see how many kills I can get with this Zant. Woo! That's a nice Zant. How about that? I took 4. I got 1 right before the Zant went off, and then 3 with the LB itself. That's a nice LB on their back line. Dark is looking. He's coming towards us. Just gonna scoot back a little bit. I have Purify coming up soon. I'm gonna bind this guy. We're gonna make him burn resources. Go. Doesn't necessarily do anything for my team, but it does slow them down. I got full swinged off, that's fine. If you carry full swing on Onsal, you're a troll anyway. My team is struggling, sadly, so I'm just going to do the best that I can. Because we're probably going to lose, but that is totally fine. Can't win them all, as they say. The best thing about being in third place in frontline is that your LB gauge charges 25% faster. So my LB gauge will roughly be around the 90-second mark. It's probably going to be a little higher than that, just because the numbers can be a little wonky. It looks like yellow is jumping onto red. I'm going to pop all my defensives and just see how much damage I can get off. Okay. I was hitting a Paladin and LB there. Not exactly ideal because I don't do any damage. Red seems to be very scared of this yellow team. The reason yellow's picking on them is because red is stealing all the nodes. So yellow just keeps jumping on them over and over and over again. I'm gonna stop this, then I'm gonna switch away. Just to be annoying, okay? Looks like the mid fight is over, so I'm gonna go down here towards red. Yellow should wrap around here and pinch red. I'm actually gonna Zant in here because I see a lot of low health bars and I want to finish them. I don't do that very often, but I do it sometimes because they had so many low health bars there. If they'd been a little more clumped up, I might have gotten another multi-kill. And that guy got the kill, nice. Alright, so red has lost a lot of points. They took a lot of death from us, and it seems the other half got murdered by yellow. Yellow's got a lot of battle high. They're a much scarier team to fight. I actually got stunned there, but I had a scholar give me Seraphlite, so I didn't take the crowd control. Let's see, both the Dark Knights are marked. Do I recognize these names? Oh, I sure do. That's one of my good friends right there. What about this white mage who's already battle high 5? Oh yeah, we got some Aether gamers in this lobby. That would make a lot of sense. I'm kind of just seeing what my team does. My team doesn't like want to fight at all, other than a handful of people that are already up here. We can't fight that. We will die, so there's no point. So I'm just gonna scoot back. Anybody who's still down there is gonna die very quickly. If our team stands any chance of fighting yellow in this game, we need red's help to do it. I don't know where that bard's going. He's going off on his own little adventure, I guess. Fortunately, I have to just perma-watch yellow and hope that red doesn't do anything to us. This is extremely boring, but if I rush in there, I die extremely quickly. Okay, I didn't know if anybody on yellow was going to touch me there, but I didn't want that Gunbreaker to give me any more debuff, so I just sent the Zant anyway. Gave me a little bit of extra BH, I guess, but not really worth. That was kind of a hope and pray Zant. We are against a very tough team, so sometimes you just gotta send it and see what happens. So, looks to be very dead. Maybe I can steal this kill, actually. I'm gonna switch for this kill. Got it? Well, I got the assist at least. Assist is better than nothing. Oh, what's this guy doing back here? Hello, Mr. Gunbreaker. My buff ran out. That's okay. Yeah, we're picking on the wrong team here. Unfortunately, while I do have a couple of solid players with me, it's not enough. And my team is going to take a very heavy loss in this game. The Dark Knights are looking for us because we're clumped. I'm gonna dash on him. Okay, he used LB. Alright, he was scared that I was going to Zant him there, so he sent his own invuln. I'm going to pick this Bard. Actually going to stun this Dark. Nope, team just doesn't want to fight. Sadly, you do get teams like this. There's a good stack of players on yellow, and I have the team that doesn't want to participate in any fighting. This time, I'm looking for an in here. Gonna fight in the middle of my friendly Comet. We do pick up Battle High 5, which is good for me. Can also put a target on my head, though. Probably not as big of a target, though. My team only has 400 points. If my team wants to win this, we have to rely solely on nodes. I'm gonna purify the silence. It's okay, knocks me off, but he should be dead. Yep. Just stalling this node. Just gonna put some damage on that paladin. Tag this warrior for another assist. Stun the paladin. Dead. Alright, we've got an S rank in middle. If red keeps up the pressure, this S rank might be free. May actually poke down here. That's what my team is doing. This is a really awkward incline to fight on. It's a really big advantage for whoever has that spawn location. If you fight on an incline and you're on the low ground, you can die very fast. So I don't like going on that incline at all. Red is putting pressure on them. That's what we should be doing. I may run in and do a suicide Zant here in a second, but I don't want to do it to red. I want to do it to yellow. Oh, I was targeted on the wrong person. That's okay. Yellow is engaging pretty hard here because red is running away. Smart by them, try to pick up some kill points. They do get their own flag, which is to be expected. Their team is very strong. Just gonna knock that paladin off his mount for absolutely no reason. I don't know how many people are looking at me there, so I'm just gonna burn my Swift and completely run away. Unfortunate cooldown usage, but gotta do what you gotta do to live sometimes. So this can actually be really good for us. We're stalling yellow really hard. Yellow just wants to fight, which is completely fine until it isn't. If they do too much fighting, they're gonna lose. I want to go in right there, but I want to wait for my Swift. Be back. It just came back up. Oh, this is such a hard in here. Alright, I'm looking. Looking at yellow. I'm gonna go on yellow here. I did not get a kill. That's fine. I do live all of the damage. Like I said before, sometimes you gotta walk into a crowd and hope and pray that you get a kill. It once again did not work. I'm playing against a smart team. There's nothing really I can do. If you notice, however, yellow is forgetting that nodes exist. There is a very high possibility that my team is gonna sneak away with this win. Nodes keep spawning on our side of the map, and we don't die very much. I'm gonna help this handful of teammates poke at this gunbreaker. We are in the 1200 range. If we get that node on top of the hill southwest and we get the east node, we're gonna win. We might just get lucky. I'm gonna go on these people right here. I extended my debuff, but he guarded it. Okay, he beamed me for no reason. Totally fine. That's not good. Do I live or do I die to tick? Oh my goodness gracious, I lived with 21 health. I'm getting chased, I have to keep running. Gonna keep chasing me, little gunbreaker? Are you that desperate for a kill? This is what happens when you chase me, bro. Don't chase me. Silly little gunbreaker. He didn't even know what hit him. I did not pay attention to whether or not we got that heal node or not. We are fighting over this east node. However, red has an S and an A rank ticking currently, so they may get pretty close to the win here. So we have to pivot our attention to them just a little bit, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do with this play right here. I got to. I'm gonna swift away. I am tired of eating marksman fights. Please stop shooting me. I ate 3 marksman fights there, by the way. We do pick up that node on the beach. Is it gonna be enough to tick us for a win? It just might. Let's find this kill right here. There we go. Didn't even need the kill. You know, honestly, with how many good players were in this lobby right here, this was a pretty decent SAM game. I am not disappointed at all. Yellow got bullied out of first. The reason they got bullied out of first is because they focused so much on just killing that they didn't get their node points. If you peek here, you'll see that my team got 1,500 node points and they only got 1,050. So it's important to remember that nodes don't matter early, but the farther you go into a frontline match, the more they matter, because we just kept picking up nodes and we ended up winning because of it. Hope you guys can learn something from that play-by-play. It wasn't exactly as good as I had hoped for, because I got a team that didn't really want to fight very much. But I did pick up some good kills with LB that gave us some extra points and help us win, and I got a gunbreaker to chase me all the way to my spawn, so that was fun. Yeah. Hope you guys can learn something from this SAM video, and I will catch you next time for the next class guide.